Hello, everyone, and welcome, and thank you for joining us on this cold day for another in our series of Friendship Place webinars, wherein we talk about issues that are addressing the folks we serve, and particularly programs with which we serve people across the DC metro area. Today's topic is street outreach, and this is a very appropriate topic given the weather right now and how cold it is. I think it's something people are very interested in to talk about how we serve people and how the community can help serve people. I'm going to turn to Jean-Michel in 1 second, but first I want to tell for folks, you've not heard the news yet on this, but we are postponing Music of Friends that was scheduled for Sunday. More details to come. We'll send out an email to everyone in the coming day or so. If we can get an actual date on the calendar, we'll let you know the date. Otherwise, we'll just send the email confirming that we've postponed. It's just too much ice out there, not really a good place to park. And so we want to be safe for everybody. No reason to put anyone at risk here. I am now going to turn this over to Jean-Michel to talk a little bit about what it is we're talking about here today, who in turn will turn over to Liza, who will talk about what she does in street outreach. And then the floor is everyone's here, is for everyone here. We want to hear from folks what questions you may have. I certainly can come up with questions of my own. However, it's always more fun and engaging when it happens organically and you all offer questions together. So, Jean-Michel, I'm going to toss to you and then we will talk to Liza.
Well, thank you, Chris, and thank you everybody for being online with us this afternoon to talk about our outreach program. Outreach was the first program at Friendship Place 35 years ago when we were founded. It's the first activity we engaged in, going all around Upper Northwest as we still do in a used van with bottles of water, blankets, sandwiches, very much the way some groups still do it around the larger squares downtown. And then, of course, we grew from there, and the Welcom Center opened in 1993. But fast forward to now, we are going to hear from our star outreach worker, Liza Poris, who has been with us a long time. And Liza and I were just chatting about that. It's very unusual that somebody stays in outreach services for that long, and does so well. Liza, I know that you are moving on also to another provider, and this is a good move for you. So I want to take this opportunity to thank you for everything you have done. And of course, thank the team at the Welcom Center for the great work there under Tiara's leadership. And this is part of the cluster that Jonathan runs. So thank you also to Jonathan and to everybody at the Welcom Center. Over to you, Liza.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
We can indeed.
I'm at the airport at
You.
at the moment, so hoping that I can still come through. Thank you for that introduction. So my name is Liza Poris. I have my title currently is a street outreach specialist at the Welcom Center, and I've been at Friendship Place in this role for now almost 6 years. I started in May of 2020, which was a very interesting time to get started with this work. And yeah, today is actually my last day at Friendship Place, so I'm happy to be able to share some of the work that I've done over the past 6 years, and I'm happy that it's also the focus of today's webinar is about what to do in cold weather, since that's definitely been the theme of the week. So thanks for the interest in the work that we've done. I guess I'll start just sort of talking about what outreach looks like generally, and then I'll get into a little bit more the cold weather. But at Friendship Place, we do outreach in the surrounding areas of the Welcom Center, basically all of Ward 3. So Wisconsin Avenue from Friendship Heights down to the Cathedral area, down Massachusetts Avenue, over to Connecticut Avenue, and up that whole Connecticut Avenue corridor from Cleveland Park to Van Ness, back to Welcom Center. And the idea of outreach is really to be able to meet people where they are. We provide a lot of services in the district in general, provides a lot of services to people that are homeless through our drop-in centers, through the various shelters. But there are a lot of people who are experiencing homelessness that are, in the thick of it, and for a variety of reasons, they're not able to access those services. Either they're new to the district, they're unaware of the services, or oftentimes they have various traumas around services. And so the idea of outreach is to be on the front line, being that first bridge between somebody outside and their opportunity to get connected to services and connected to housing. It's been very, I think what's unique about outreach at the Welcom Center at Friendship Place is that the role of an outreach worker complements the role of working in our drop-in center. And so, especially for those individuals that have that trauma around getting connected to service, when we go outside and try and connect with people and connect them to services, and they come to our Welcom Center, then we're also going to be that same face that they see at the Welcom Center. And it helps continue that line of trust that you build when you're engaging with individuals outside. So that's sort of the name of the game with outreach, is just to be able to be that front line of service and that starting point to engage with people as they're outside. And it kind of has two goals in it. One is ideally, like, our long-term goal is to be able to develop a relationship, build rapport, build trust, and help start a service engagement relationship where we're able to help individuals work toward whatever goals they may have, and ultimately towards housing and self-sustainability. But the other component of it is also just making sure that people are okay outside and just providing that basic need, that if they're not going to be connecting to services, just an opportunity to make sure that people are alive and well, and we're the sort of ears and eyes on the ground to be able to check on the wellness of everybody. And so, in regular outreach, we go out multiple times a week, equipped with all of those items that allow us to be able to ensure that people are doing okay outside: food, water, snacks, toiletry items, basic clothing items. And we make our rounds in popular areas, checking and going up to people and seeing what they might need. And it might be as simple as providing them those basic items, but ideally it's starting that relationship, asking questions about if they are interested in housing, if they're interested in services, and then ideally building a relationship from there. Oftentimes, outreach on any given day looks like, over the years, having few individuals who over time have developed relationships with, where we know where they're living, and we're able to check in as if they're our friends and pick up the conversation, and whatever goals they might be working on. And then it's every day also at the same time checking in on strangers and starting from scratch. And so that's sort of what it looks like kind of on any given day. And then cold weather, there are obviously new challenges that come with that. Everything is a little bit heightened, and the risk for survival is that much greater. It's also an opportunity to, especially people who are reluctant to services, it's a time that being out there is all the more important, because oftentimes when the risk of being outside is greater, that's an opening to be able to build on that relationship. And so as we're starting to talk about the cold weather outreach, I wanted to bring up some of the resources that we have that are district-wide that can be kind of helpful. So I'm going to share here. Oh, I don't have the ability to share. Never mind.
I might be able to give that to you. Hold on one second. Let's see if I can make you a co-host, and then we can do that. The co-host. Confirm. You are now a co-host. You should be able to share.
Awesome. Righty. Okay, so I just wanted to, before I even go into anything, wanted to just bring up this website here for everybody to take a look at. So the district, for people who are kind of tuning in today, particularly because they're curious about what they can do to help people while they're outside in the cold, the district has a website, which is just cold.dc.gov, that houses all the information about how to support our neighbors who are living outside during cold weather. And it's a great launch point and, with updates about what the current the cold weather operations are. As you can see at the top of the page, it says DC remains under extreme cold alert until 7 a.m. Tuesday. And they share all the different updates about what shelter statuses are. So this is your one-stop shop for hypothermia season. There are various alerts that depending on if they're triggered, opens up a variety of resources to ensure that everybody outside has access to what they need to stay warm. Most importantly, on this website is the number for the shelter hotline, which is here in red. You can also always dial 311. When DC is in a hypothermia alert or extreme cold weather alert, those shelter hotlines are open 24 hours, so that, and as are the shelters. So that's accessible to everybody. And so when we're doing outreach, we're very aware of this. Oftentimes, a big barrier for connecting individuals to shelter, individuals who would prefer to sleep outside, is the fact that the timing of the shelters. They're usually, when it's not a cold weather emergency, they open at 7 and people have to leave at 7. During hypothermia, they're open 24 hours. So this is an opportunity to be able to connect individuals to shelter that otherwise might be reluctant. And so that's something that we're very aware of. And we lean on the shelter hotline heavily to be able to connect people to the shelters. But everybody can just call the shelter hotline during these times to be able to connect individuals to a shelter. Scrolling down. Also, another helpful piece of information is like sometimes the shelter hotline in and of itself can be a barrier. Sometimes it can be a little bit, there's some intimidation there. And so when there is reluctance about connecting to the shelter hotline, or you don't have the ability to wait for a van, you're always able to call a lift. That can be a great connecting point to the shelter and just get them right down there. With that being said, here on this website we have the, and I kind of, hold on here. Oh, we're gonna have to link to it again. I had pulled it up, but there's a resource guide here of all of the available shelters in the district during hypothermia. So if you're able to talk to somebody, they are interested in a shelter, these are the places that are open and available for people during hypothermia. Sometimes it's best to if people are interested but you're not sure where they want to go, to get them a lift to some of these drop-in centers that are open 24 hours, and then they will connect them to the shelters that have available space. That if you're going to be choosing that option. The district does a good job of really making sure that everybody has a place to go inside during these hypothermia alerts. Also this week and other times when it's extremely cold, as it has been the past week, they'll supplement these cold weather resources with warming buses. So this past week, they had a warming bus parked at Union Station and a warming bus parked in front of the MLK Library, because some people are still going to be resistant even to shelters, but this is just the very least what we're able to get them. Going back to this site, calling for help, there's a lot of information of what to do here. And the reason why there is so much attention around getting people the support that they need during hypothermia season and during cold weather is because of the health risks of hypothermia. There is a helpful link here as well on this cold weather site that sort of walks you through what to look out for with hypothermia and what to keep in mind. And so if you're outside and as you're seeing an individual that's cold, there's certain things to be aware of whether they might be at risk for experiencing hypothermia. Their fact sheet is a very helpful fact sheet, kind of talking about some of the things to be on the look for: shivering, confusion, slurred speech, fumbling hands. The thing that's most the highest risk for like hypothermia is when people are wet, and so that's why during this time we're always going around with like warm socks. Those warm sock donations are very, very helpful. Like dry socks that because people's feet get cold. Long johns, just clothes to be able to get people out of wet clothes and into dry clothes. That's going to keep them, if they're going to be outside, at least at less at risk of hypothermia. This is a very helpful guide. This can be accessed at thecolddc.gov. Another Similarly, frostbite is another thing that to be aware of. And the CAHP also has a resource guide of what to look out for frostbite. That's simple, like the moisture too is a big cause of the frostbite too. So having those gloves to be able to provide people, and again, the socks is really helpful as well. And this is just a little bit of information about what sort of are the steps that they take to actually put a hypothermia alert into action. If it's 16 degrees to 32, the cold alert will go out. Extreme cold alert is 15 degrees or less. If you're interested in being able to keep updated and aren't able to go to the website, you're able to sign up for these text alerts about what the status is. So you have an awareness of what is open and what's not open, and you can just get text alerts at alert.dc.gov. And then here is a map of all of the shelters that are available. And yeah, for us in outreach during the cold weather, where it was really an opportunity where we're on high alert. Just in this past week alone, just as an example of how this can be a critical time intervention time. There's been an individual, an older woman, who sleeping up towards on Chevy Chase Library, had been very, very reluctant to go to shelters. Neighbors had collaborated with us, let us know that this is somebody in need. We had been visiting her multiple times in recent weeks to try and make sure that she was warm as she was outside, providing sleeping bags, providing warm gloves. It's continuously a little bit reluctant to go to the shelter, but as the storm and the alert of the extreme cold kind of increased on this Friday, when she was very aware that there was going to be a storm this weekend, we were able to get her a lift to go to the shelter, and she's been at the shelter since Friday. And so our presence kind of leading up to the cold weather is very important, and throughout this time, it's important to continue to check in on the individuals that we see. Another man that it frequently engage with on outreach, sometimes is more reluctant to engage, was very open to receive clothes yesterday. So we really like to have our presence be known during these cold weather times, and hopefully that can be the opportunity to bridge those relationships and start working on those longer term housing goals. Okay, I'll stop talking for now. Are there any questions that I can answer?
This is amazing information. So thank you. And honestly, that information about hypothermia and frostbite, I think that applies to all of us. I think anyone who's outside at any point should be paying attention to that. It might be worth visiting that page on the website, on the DC Gov website, so you too, yourself can be prepared and make sure that you're safe during all of this. Hal, I see your hand up, but first I do want to answer a couple of questions in the chat. T and Faith, I put in the chat a call for thermal underwear, which is something we had put out on social media, and a couple of folks asked some questions about best way to get that to you. If you're still on and if you're in a place to unmute, can you suggest what's the best way for people to get thermal underwear, socks, warm clothes, etc., to the Welcome Center, timing, etc.?
Yes, so preferably we accept donations Wednesday and Friday, 9 to 4. If anyone would like to donate during our drop-in hours, I can put my email in the chat and then we can schedule a time for donation drop-off.
Thank you, thank you. And T, I was correct in saying that you still do have a call for thermal underwear, correct? That is still very much a need?
Yes.
Okay. And socks and gloves as well, and hats, I presume, also very useful?
Yes.
Very good. Cool. No, thank you so much. Thank you for moving in again. Liza, thank you for all that information. Again, in the spirit of keeping this flowing conversation, Hal, you had a question. I certainly have questions of my own for following up, but Hal, I'm going to let you go first, and then whatever people want to put in the chat, if you'd like, we can ask those questions. Go. So, Hal, over to you. Oh, you are muted, Hal.
Can you hear me now?
We can indeed.
Liza, I was wondering if you could go over your procedures with the van. You use a van and two of you go together and you have certain hours and you have a certain routine of patrolling certain streets in Ward 3. I'm just wondering if you could go over sort of the equipment, the personnel, and the whole routine.
Sure. It's because of the work is so person-centered, that's sort of the approach that we take. It doesn't lend itself to a routine typically, and because it's really done in tandem with being present at the Welcome Center as well. But you know, and sometimes on Fridays there is a set outreach round that I've been doing for the past 3 years with Unity Healthcare. So I'll go out with a nurse practitioner for a couple of hours, and usually on Friday, it's been the course of the week, and so I've kind of been doing outreach on my own during the week and also been at the Welcome Center. And so we'll start by sort of identifying anybody that I've seen over the course of the week that or heard of, because all of the neighbors are very, very helpful in letting us know who is newer to the area. And so you guys are very helpful also being the eyes on the ground to let us know somebody that we might need to check on, or somebody that may have come to the Welcome Center that's new, or somebody that might have a specific health need, and we'll typically, you know, it's hitting the kind of hot spots of the area. So it's Friendship Heights Metro, Tenleytown Library and Metro area, down towards the McDonald's and the 7-Eleven on Wisconsin Avenue. And then the main business corridor of Connecticut Avenue. So Chevy Chase Circle, Chevy Chase Library, those businesses up and down that street, down to the Starbucks, the corner of Nebraska and Connecticut, that block by Politics and Prose, then down by Cleveland Park as well, and then also the Giant over by Idaho Avenue in Wisconsin are sort of the main areas that are popular. All of the libraries, we have relationships with the librarians there, and they let us know if there's individuals that are frequenting those areas. And so it really varies depending on what our relationships are, where people are saying, what we're hearing on the ground, and what our schedules are with the Welcom Center, and balancing the outreach with being present at the Welcom Center to be a face for those relationships that we're building outside for when they come inside as well.
Now, you say it's usually two of you together?
On Fridays, I out with Unity Healthcare, and it's two of us. Otherwise, I will go out on my own.
Is there
in the
ever a
area.
problem? Is there ever a problem trying to drive and sort of look over the streets at the same time?
It's a lot of walking, so it's parking and walking. You do I will say over the 6 years, you do kind of develop a sense of looking around and sort of figure it, but it's more walking, being on the ground, driving to those hot spots, getting out and walking down the streets, walking into the libraries, walking into the metros, walking into sort of the peripheries of the park.
You use a van, and you say you carry a number of supplies?
We'll drive with our supplies and then walk with a bag of it. Not too much. The idea is also to be approachable too, and it's just striking up a conversation. Sometimes I've noticed being kind of overly prepared, people can be suspicious. So trying to be as casual about it as possible, but still have, if I don't want to have all of that stuff with me while I'm walking, have it in my car and then go back to the car and bring it with me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hal. Good question. Alan, your hand is up.
Good morning, everyone. A lot of faces I haven't seen in a while, Christine. Good to see you. Sorry about that, y'all. I don't have a question. I have a comment about our outreach teams. Most of you know that I speak about Friendship Place, and I speak about so many of our programs. And one of them is our outreach teams. I make sure that people know that they were out there during COVID. I let people know something that I didn't know, and that was how hard outreach can be. You may have to say good morning to a person 5 or 6 times before they even say good morning back, because they may have trust issues. They may have all kinds of things going on in their world, that just doesn't, they don't trust anybody anymore a lot of times. Everybody, Liza said she's leaving. And there was a time when I would have a problem with that, but I've grown so much. So I wish her well, but I wonder who's going to fill her shoes, because I've been in the Welcom Center when Liza has been working, and you can feel her spirit through the door and through the window when they're all closed. And the participants are going to miss her, that's for sure. So, Liza, thank you for your years, Good luck in the future from me and all of us, and that's all I'm gonna say. Bye, lady.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Well,
I know how.
thank you.
I know how. Go on. You were going to say something. I interrupted you.
Oh, well, I'm definitely not going to be a stranger, and to say thanks. And I think that I've just appreciated my time here too. I've learned so much in the 6 years from our participants, from the whole team. It's been a great experience, and I've definitely am committed to the work, whether or not I'm at Friendship Place, and still am not going to be a stranger to the area or to Friendship Place at all. So still here for the work. No. And then just to pick up on what you said about outreach and sort of the work of sometimes you'll walk by somebody 5 or 6 times and won't say hello back to you at all. I think one of the real benefits of having been in outreach for 6 years is really seeing how that presence pays off, where, it might be a year or so of just walking by somebody, saying hi and being a familiar face, and just letting them know that I'm here, letting them know that I'm around, what kind of able to help. And it might take a year or more. Somebody just after a while, as a familiar face, comes up and asks for a simple thing because they've developed that trust just from the familiarity. And what started at like complete refusal can, I've seen it a few times completely switch into slowly building up and working towards goals and end housing. And yeah, it's been really cool to see just what the time does and what the familiar, just the presence and building that trust does in terms of moving people towards getting connected to service and being able to be seen as a trusted resource to get connected to services.
Yeah. And Liza, it's interesting, so much of what we've talked about today, and I believe it was really the topic of the end of your direct mail piece, is that need to build trust and that folks come to us who've been betrayed by the system before, perhaps haven't, had the best experience with the system. And what you've been able to do is manifest that I'm here to help, and I will be here to help in whatever way works for you. And I think it's, so much of what we do is around that building goals in conjunction with the people we are serving. And I think that that's important. I don't know if there's anything you want to say more about that joint goal building. How do you go about identifying what those joint goals are?
It's just listening. I would say listening. And for me, like I've always tried and keep some of our friendship place values in mind as finding ways to say yes. So listening and being attuned to something that we can say yes to. So oftentimes it's sort of like starting small with like people frequently are disconnected from their IDs. And so that's a quick win. So establishing some small goals that are kind of low hanging fruit that we're able to easily help with, that kind of immediately builds the trust and then kind of can lead to more open conversations about longer term goals. And also, being honest and about what we can and can't do, also along the lines of finding ways to say yes. This is definitely a tough time to be doing homeless services because of the funding landscape. A lot of those typical resources that I had been able to connect people to earlier on when I first started after COVID, when there was a lot of funding, are not as available. And so, just being able to provide as much information about what is and isn't possible, I think empowers people to be able to figure out what their goals are and trust that you will be able to kind of be as honest as you can be in supporting them get connected to those goals.
Yeah. And, so much of what we do is around autonomy, the autonomy of the participant we're serving and really respecting that autonomy. So I think that's a real great manifestation of that. We have some questions in the chat, and Debbie, you have your hands up. I think chronologically, Christine Lauterbach may have had the question in first. So Christine's question was, would it be possible for other members of the Welcome Center team? T, would you mind introducing other members of the Welcome Center team who are on the call? Because I know several of you are.
Sure. I'll start with myself. My name is Tiaria Grier. I go by T. I'm the division director at the Welcome Center. Also on the call, we have the assistant director, Faith Allen. So I will pass it to her, who can pass it to Tamika.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Faith Allen. I'm the assistant director here at the Welcome Center. I also have a background in outreach, so I plan to pick up a little bit where Liza left off. It is very big shoes to fill, so I'm definitely soaking all this information up, but I will pass it to Tamika now.
Hi, I'm Tamika Ali, the Welcome Center drop-in specialist.
Thank you. And who else do we have? I think I saw Charlie.
Maybe Jonathan.
Oh, Jonathan, thank you. Yes,
Jonathan,
Jonathan,
VP
you
of
wanna...
Regional Programs.
Thank you. Yeah, Jonathan, are you in a position to unmute?
Yes, I am. Hi, everyone. I'm Jonathan Whitted. I'm the VP of Regional Programs. I'm here at Friendship Place. And I don't know. I think I saw Danielle was actually on the call too. So I'll kick it over to her.
Danielle, are you in a position to unmute? You may not be. Who else did I see? I know from the Welcome Center is on the call. I believe Charlie, I believe you're on the call as well, if you can unmute. And it may
Hi,
be,
yes. Oh, can you hear me?
we can
Yes.
indeed.
Oh, okay, great. I am a newcomer. I am an outreach and engagement specialist, so I'll be walking in Liza's footsteps a little. I also have a background in outreach, so just like Miss Faith said, try to pick up where she left off.
Very good. And I apologize, I can't see all of the participants. Is there anyone else from the Welcome Center team on the call? I'm sorry, I just can't catch everybody in the chat here. And if so, please go ahead and identify. And if you can't unmute, I understand. Oh, hi, Danielle.
Hi. I'm Danielle Ambrose. I am the residential case manager at Friendship Place at the Welcome Center.
Thank you. Thank
And I
you.
do permanent supportive housing.
Thank you. Cool. All
Hi,
right.
and my name is Prince. I am an outreach specialist at the drop-in center. I started a couple weeks ago, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for
Welcome,
all you.
Prince.
Yes. Thank you all for all you do. So great. Good question. Right now I see Debbie Grier has your hand up. So, and then Susan and Ann, I see you have questions in the chat. We'll go with Debbie and then Susan and Ann's questions. So
Okay. Can you hear me, Chris?
we can indeed.
Okay. I have a question about, and it might not necessarily be in cold weather, but just when you see someone that clearly is in need of assistance. This happened to me once, but it was on a weekend. And is there a number we can call to alert somebody to this? Like this, I actually had a real life case where a homeless woman that lives around me in Tenley Circle was clearly very troubled, but I didn't feel qualified to address her thing. And I wanted to call somebody. And I think I was given a number, but I didn't get a call back till like the following Monday. So is there sort of a number that people can call even on the weekend when somebody is clearly in distress?
Well, there's all the shelter hotline you can always call even on the weekends as well, and they do wellness checks, not like they provide transportation to shelter, but they'll also do wellness checks mostly just to see if anybody might need like a blanket or something outside. Not the type of wellness checks it sounds like you're talking about, where she seemed like she needed some assistance. If you're concerned about somebody's well-being, and then there's another number to call. That's from the Department of Behavioral Health. They have something called the Community Response Team. And I'm going to try and get that number for you. But it's called CRT, and they will respond to if you see somebody in distress. They will dispatch workers to check on that well-being of somebody. And we'll find that number for you.
I got you covered, Liza.
Thank you.
Should I drop it in the chat?
Yes.
Oh, yes, please.
Yeah,
Thank
that sounds
you.
great. Yep.
Great. We have a question from Susan Price in the chat. How often do the city shelters fill up? And when that happens, what are the alternatives?
During hypothermia season, they ensure that there's space for everybody that needs space. So sometimes it might not look like, it might not be a guaranteed bed. They'll have overflow spaces to make sure that people are able to be inside. That's something that's definitely guaranteed during hypothermia season. The warming boxes are not for overflow shelter. That's just for individuals that would like to be inside, that need to be able to be in a warm space, but are maybe more reluctant to go to shelters. When it's not hypothermia season, the shelters rarely fill up. There's been certain times where they have, like during this past August, when there was more attention on individuals living outside, the shelters were starting to fill up. And they did say the district went into emergency response too, and were able to open up some more space. So there's always available capacity in emergency situations during extreme heat in the summer. there's expanded capacity, and then of course during cold there's expanded capacity, and during those other times of the year, the shelters tend to not fill up. But when the moments call for it, like this August, when there was an increase of demand for shelter, they're able to kind of call upon that capacity that exists during other emergency shelter and other emergency moments.
Thank you. Ann Morrison in the chat had asked, have we seen more people willing to go into shelters during the continuing freeze? Have we seen uptake in folks going into the 24/7 shelters?
Anecdotally, yes. And I think both, yeah, and the data also shows that's why there is the need for those hypothermia overflows. There's definitely, there's this increased presence ensuring that people are okay during this time. Like we're not like I was walking in our outreach area the other day, and there are members of each ward police team that also does homeless outreach. I saw them engaging with individuals. There's like a lot of eyes on the ground during this time to make sure that people are accessing shelters and have access to shelters when they need it. And yeah, I think that oftentimes once the cold weather is over, people will come back outside. But yes, there's definitely an increased demand during this cold period.
Thank you. Hal, I see you have your hand up again. What question might you have? And you are muted again.
Liza, you mentioned a number of useful numbers, and we have had historically a paper handout. I'm wondering if that handout is currently up to date, or whether your useful numbers would be good content for an updated version of the handout.
I think you're probably referring to our
share. Oh,
you would.
Well, yeah, when I was sharing the DC Cold site, that was the resource there. That's the most up to date, especially during hypothermia season. So just go to colddc.gov, and then they have these resource guides that they continuously update. And this is what we pass out at our Welcom Center during hypothermia season, but you're able to access this online as well.
Thank you.
Very good.
Yeah.
Cool. And you might be referring also to our pocket guides, which we do keep up to date. And I think we've got some at the Welcom Center. So we do keep
and
those
they
up.
are up to date.
Right.
Very good.
Good to hear.
Emily Novik, I see your hand up, and then Alan. Then I'm sure I have some other questions too, if no one else does. But Emily.
Sure. Thank you. This may be a hard question to answer. I don't know, but I live in Tenleytown, and I know there are some folks who are really kind of persistently living outside and on the street or in the Fessenden Pocket Park in particular. There's one gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
Can we assume that folks who are there a lot and pretty consistently are being visited by street outreach, or is it worth just asking folks if they would like a visit from street outreach? What do you suggest in that case?
Yeah, I mean, it never hurts to reach out to us to let us know. We've definitely been alerted by neighbors before of individuals that we were not aware of. With that being said, there are definitely in the Tenleytown area a number of what's called long stayers of individuals that have lived in that area for a long time. I think slightly more unique to Tenleytown is people who seek that out as a place to be safe and then are there for a while. And we are pretty well engaged with those individuals that we've identified as long stayers, but never hurts to let us know about somebody, and we can just, or especially for those individuals that are living outside and have been there for a while. If you notice like a change in their state. And that raises concern. That's always helpful for us to know. We are engaged, but information for us is always helpful. And then as far as you engaging with them, I think I would always encourage people to engage in friendly conversation. We do have outreach relationships with a lot of those long stayers in the neighborhood, but I know that they also see a number of the neighbors there as their friends as well. And so expanding on that network of their friend, of somebody that they can rely on, I definitely encourage that as well.
Very good. And T, I see you dropped in the chat there, the best place, so wcinfo@friendshipplace.org. If you see somebody who is unhoused and needing assistance, that's the best place. So thank you, wcinfo@friendshipplace.org. Debbie, that's an answer to your question. Thank you, T, for that. Jean-Michel, did you unmute? Was there something you were going to say? I saw you unmute.
No, I'm fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay,
Yes.
sorry. Alan,
right.
did you have your, no, it's all right. Alan, did you have your hand up? Maybe not. I may have had
Chris,
that up.
you answered the question.
All right, great.
It was about the pocket guides.
Thank you, thank you. One question, a little bit pivoting here from the immediate need is something that is always, I've been impressed by, is the interconnectivity between the city, Friendship Place, other service providers. Liza, can you talk about what referrals you see happen to not just Friendship Place programs, but other service providers? And what do other service providers do to refer people to us? What has your experience been with that?
Yeah, sure. So I guess technically my job title is called CAHP, Systems Outreach Specialist, and CAHP is a acronym, CAHP, Coordinated Assessment and Housing Placement, and that's the district's coordinated entry system. So that connects all of the homeless service providers together to pool resources, housing resources and homeless resources, so that people outside experiencing homelessness, there's no wrong door. They can go anywhere. They can be seen outside at one place. They can go to a shelter another day. They're always be connected to the same network of service providers. With that being said, through that system, a number of Friendship Place and housing programs are all established in that coordinated entry system. So for our bridge housing, the Aston Valley Place, all of our Neighbor First housing, all of that people get connected to through our referrals through the coordinated entry system. Similarly, on the ground too, there's a lot of collaboration, just making sure that people are supported while they stay outside. There's Miriam's Kitchen overlays our area with outreach. We collaborate frequently to ensure that people have wraparound services. I sort of think of it as like where oftentimes people end up outside because they don't have that safety net, and a safety net is a family, it's a group of individuals. And so us connecting to other service providers and collaborating around individuals is sort of that net, that family, that the safety net for individuals. So we talk about keep each other updated on when we were able to engage with individuals and what referrals have been made, and that's all made possible through the coordinated entry process.
Thank you. We have a little bit of time left, and we want to talk perhaps about how the community at large can help. And one of the things Alan dropped in the chat here, and I think that truly is, that's one of the first lessons I think we learned here at Friendship Place is when you see somebody who is unhoused, who's on this, who's living on the street, say hello. 1,000 people have walked by that person and ignored them that day. So say ho, something even just simple and friendly, acknowledge their core humanity, first and foremost. But there are, of course, obviously practical things. And one of the things, the Welcom Center, our street outreach, Aim Higher is also one of these privately funded programs. So private support makes this all possible. Our annual Friends and Neighbors Breakfast is March the 18th, and we are still looking for some additional table hosts. As you know, for those who are familiar with the model of the breakfast, it's people serve as table hosts and bring their friends. You can serve as a host of a full table by bringing yourself and 7 guests, or you can be a host of a half table, which is yourself and 3 guests here. Chris Kerner is the best person to email to. Chris, if you could type into the chat your email address, otherwise you just reach out to, me, and I'll be able to put you in touch with Chris. But the breakfast is such a vital way of spreading word about our work in the community. So most definitely, that's a great way that you're able to be of help to us. Another way to be of assistance is those in-kind donations that come to the the Welcome Center, and we spoke a little bit about them before. But T, would you be able to offer some ideas as to some of the more immediate needs, knowing that the needs ever evolve, right? Some things get filled, some things get depleted. T, can you speak a little bit to what some of the needs are today?
Yes, I would say we're always looking for hot meals. Most of the things that we do serve are sandwiches and packaged items. But because it is cold outside, the participants do love the hot meals that we do get from time to time. Um, we're always in need of like hygiene products, so deodorant, soap, toiletries, that's always a need. And Chris, did you want me to touch on possible volunteer opportunities?
Sure, if you don't mind, the way things, and we're always building out volunteer opportunities. So yeah, please go right ahead.
Yes, right now, we have a need for a volunteer. I'm just hoping that's organize our donations. Um, Our mailroom for volunteers is at full capacity, but the main need right now is just organizing donations and then essentially passing out toiletries and hygiene items during drop-in hours.
Very good. And we're working on some great volunteer descriptions. T and our team had a great conversation yesterday, fleshing out some of the volunteer opportunities that can be very helpful for the Welcome Center and the people that we serve. Joanne just asked a question in the chat. Can you give an example of what hot meals are most appropriate, most useful? I mean, T, what would you say to that?
Yes, from time to time, we would get complete meals that participants can pop in a microwave. We also had donations of individuals that would cook. So eggs, bacon, from time to time, they would receive breakfast meals for lunch. Pasta salad, and again, I'm just throwing ideas out there. These are some of the things that were donated to the Welcome Center for participants to have. So that would be an example of hot meals.
Thank you. Thank you. One last opening for questions before we start to wrap things up here, because this has been such a wonderful, interesting, productive conversation. So thank you, everybody. But any other final questions before we start to give people a chance to wrap things up? Okay. Well, then why don't we do this? Liza, any closing thoughts you might have? Then T, any closing thoughts you might have? Jean-Michel, you as well. And then we thank everyone for their time. So, Liza, what was the last things you might want to have people take away from your end?
Well, it's so much. I was just thinking about this conversation we're having about like donations, and I also just want to say that the fact that we're privately funded and those private funds, that's so valuable for outreach and the approach that we take in outreach and being person-centered. It's that because everybody's situation is unique, having the ability to be able to, if somebody's living in their car and they need a gas card right now to be able to stay warm, to be able to make that purchase, or to be able to immediately meet somebody's need, having those funds to be able to kind of cater to somebody's needs really allows us to do the work in a way that makes Friendship Place Friendship Place. So the private funds are hugely valuable to the work. Yeah, and I'll leave it at that. But I've really enjoyed my time here at Friendship Place, and I appreciate everybody listening today. And I know that I won't be at Friendship Place any longer, and I will continue to try and support this work that we do at Friendship Place as an outsider.
Thank you. Thank you. T, closing comments from your end, closing thoughts that you'd like everyone to know.
I just want to say thank you for everyone that joined the webinar today. I also want to say thank you to those who have sent emails regarding of individuals that you may have seen on the street or may have passed by. We do take every opportunity to respond and get to those individuals right away. I do want to point out that 9 times out of 10, we probably already crossed paths with that individual. But again, we do appreciate you all for just making us aware and kind of putting us on notice. So thank you.
Thank you. And Jonathan, any closing thoughts from your end?
Yeah, I just want to also echo the same things that's been said. Thank you very much for just being invested in Friendship Place and the Welcome Center and how we support individuals, especially during this trying time. It looks like, we won't be done with winter here coming up. There'll be some more storms to come. So outreach is definitely very pivotal and critical to making sure people are safe during these critical times. And also, just want to say thank you to Liza. The amazing work you've done all the way through the pandemic, through now, is something that will always be valuable to the team and to the community. So I just want you to know that. Just to tell a quick story here really quickly, we actually got a message from a participant that actually was saying that we need to do whatever we could to keep Liza at Friendship Place. And definitely I felt that, and definitely know that Liza has a great opportunity coming up, and we definitely support her in that, and she'll do great with that, and there'll always be a home here at Friendship Place for her.
Thank you. And then lastly, Jean-Michel, closing comments on your end.
Yes, and the participant, Jonathan, is talking about email me directly, so that was very special. Work on the street is a very special part of the mission. You've heard Liza talk about it. The approach is intentional, it's humane, it's patient, effective. People on the street have had a lot of trauma and losses, and just want to encourage everybody to talk to neighbors and encourage the neighbors to be supportive around people on the street. I know, there are different reactions to people being there. Make eye contact and contact us, because as you've heard, the street work is connected to what we do at Friendship Place through the Welcome Center, but also to the entire city system, which is also very effective. So a lot of people out there looking out for people on the street and making sure that they stay safe, especially during this cold spell, but all through the year, really as well. I want to thank all the members of the Welcome Center team and our leader there for the cluster, Jonathan, for your work. We appreciate you very much. We know a lot of, courage and commitment goes into this day after day to welcome people and make them feel wanted, so they continue to come and see us. And of course, I want to thank you, Liza, for the exemplary work on the street all these years with us. We wish you well, and we know we will hear from you. You'll stay connected, so this is great. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today and for your support. We appreciate it. As you've heard, this work is privately funded, so it's key that we get your help. We appreciate it very much. Be well.
Thank you, everyone. Yes, stay warm and take care. Thank you, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.